All right, all right, all right. Let's get going here. Switch this over. Howdy, howdy. Happy Friday, everybody. Let me let people in from the waiting room. I got so many windows, so little time. Here we go. All and join the Zoom call at that URL over my head.
Hello, everybody.
Brian, Connie, Kenneth,
Hey,
PJ, Mike, at least in the Zoom room, and Isaias. Sorry, yeah, and Isaias.
Hello.
And let's see who's on YouTube watching. One's doing well. It's already Friday again.
Hello, everybody.
Getting my suntan.
Yeah, you're actually kind of like think an advantage that you finally have some sun, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, last year, and I should do it now too. It's a good time. Is I took the screen out, and then I could just throw the ball for the dog, and she'd bring it back up to the window. And I'm like, what more could one ask for, right? I'm like,
yeah, that's funny.
So anyway, anyone got anything they're working on in particular?
Yeah,
Does AutoHotkey work on a tablet?
What? On a tablet?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, Windows tablet.
you can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, if it's a Windows, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of computers now that look like tablets, but they're really running the Windows OS.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if that's not the case, you can use an emulator on some of the, I'm sorry, never mind, because I was thinking.
No, but my question is this. So if you have a tablet, right, are you connecting a keyboard to it? Because if it is a keyboard, yeah, hotkey can trigger it. But if it is just using the touch screen, that might be a different topic in which, yeah, if you touch with 3 fingers, you want an action. Well, that's a little bit trickier. It's not that simple. It's not as you might think. And don't get me wrong. It is possible. It's just way above my pay grade. Like, yeah, I'm not going to go into that one. No, because, you know, we have been really talking about this, grabbing what is called the raw input from the computer. There are Win API functions that do that. And basically, you would have to get the touch screen input, which is possible because the OS is doing it somehow. The only thing is that for AutoHotkey, I don't think there's a library that does that. You would have to do a lot of DLL calls. And that, my friend, is a nightmare. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
So Kenneth, you had a question or something?
Yeah, and just to chime in on the previous question too, it may be you could install different keyboards in Windows. At least you can do that in Android. And one of them, it's called the hacker's keyboard or something. You can actually send shortcut keys with the touch keyboard, but not on others. So maybe that's a possibility too in
That's a good
on
one.
Windows keyboards,
Right.
on-screen keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I was wondering, I tried to ask ChatGPT, but it was above its pay grade for it.
At least for now.
That was for now, yeah. And that was how to embed an ICO file as a base 64.
Right. Okay.
In a script, because I like to share my scripts, and it looks much better when you have like an
icon on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want me to kind of like show what I was doing with that? So
yeah, if you could, or I could just show my screen too, and
go ahead and do that. Yeah, that's okay.
So I have this one. Just let me.
Are you using V1 or V2?
Now it's this is a V1 script, but I'm trying to migrate to V2. So.
No, that's okay. It's good to know because my solution is for V2. So I don't have a solution for V1 yet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The idea is the same though. So
so
let me see what you get. So you are using setting the tray icon like this.
Yeah.
And when you say you want it as base 64, what would you want that?
Instead of referencing it here, I'm just thinking of adding the base 64 encoding at the bottom of the file and trying to use it. I don't know if it's possible, or it could even be here if there's no other way, but yeah.
It is possible, but there is an easier solution because going the base 64 route is a little bit more complex than it looks like.
Yeah.
First of all, you would need a good library to convert to V64. I think we do have some. Joe might have a link to any of the libraries that he uses in V1.
Yeah, I just used an online converter, but of course, if you can do it.
Now, here's the problem. So here's the thing. You cannot directly use a base 64 with the menu tray icon command. So what you will have to do is you have your base 64 down here, probably in a variable.
Yeah.
When the script is installed, you check if the icon exists. If it doesn't, you grab the base 64, put it into a file, an ICO file, and then you use your menu tray icon.
Uh-huh.
that
So
matter,
so you write it to a file that's
right? But that
uh-huh.
if you're gonna do that, why not use the file install command? So right
Yeah.
above line 17, so on line 16, for example, just
Yeah.
use file install icon, whatever it is, right? And where do you want to install? That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the easiest way, and the one that I was gonna say, hey, especially when you're just using the icon as part of your menu icon, I don't
Yeah.
see a reason why you would go with base64 because you just install the file because you need it as a file anyways.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
happens, right?
Okay, yeah. So there's no way around. You can't just like include it in your file. You will always have to write it to a separate file.
Well, it's not that it is not possible. It's just that it is very tricky. Like, for example,
Okay.
on line 17, what you
Yeah.
might try to do, I haven't tried this yet, is use the load icon, the load resource function. So you have to force an expression, use the load resource function. But that's my question. I don't know if the menu tray icon from V1 takes an icon handle instead of an icon.
Yeah,
If it
yeah.
takes an icon handle, then yeah, you will have to do a two-step approach.
Yeah.
Convert the base64 into a handle and the handle to the load resource, and then force that expression on line 17. Again,
Yeah.
it's a lot of steps to do something that
Yeah.
is really that simple. Just save the file and then just use it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think I go with the first route. So
Or you could just be really lazy and pick one of the many icons that are in the Windows resource DLLs.
Right. And then be careful with that,
Mhm.
because those icon numbers might
just had that happen.
change. And we just had that happen with the prompt assistant. The icon that I chose for Windows 10, when we use it on Windows 11, it's a different icon. It
Yeah.
happened that it was not that far off. It was not that bad, but it could be anything, right? It's
Yeah.
very random.
yeah.
But that's pretty rare. I've only seen that a
Yeah.
few times over the years. But
Okay.
XP to Windows 7 and 8, like there were a couple shifts, where
Right.
they still had them. They just the numbers were different. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's
But that's the point.
As you
So
can see, I have quite a lot of icons. So, but
Oh, I
maybe you could.
No, this is the thing. The most likely thing is that when you shift to a major version of Windows,
Yeah.
like from 10 to 11, you might expect some changes on the icon numbering.
Yeah.
But if
What's
it is
that
within
PA?
Win 10, like, yeah, that was a good one. Like, what's that one? No, but basically that same script, the prompt assistant is the one that we are sharing the icons in base64,
Yeah.
but we're doing that because of the import and export function, not because the script itself needs it. It's because I
Yeah.
want to share my icon with you. And yeah, it is a little bit tricky to copy the
Yeah,
icon and just
I saw
send
it. I tried to export because I tried it out, the prompt assistant, and it looks very good. So I'm excited for that when that's released. So the reason I have all these icons is that
It is working
it's-
right now. So if you go to the prompt assistant, can you open the customize window? So if you,
this one.
yeah, just customize menu.
Yeah.
So there are two buttons on the left, the import and export. If you select the sub menu on the left, like the demo sub menu,
Yeah.
you select that one and you hit export, you can export that into a file that you can give somebody else. But the only thing is, all your icons come with it. So if you change the icons, then the icons are also exported. in
Yeah.
the process. So
I haven't gotten around to that since you only allowed for ICO files. So
yeah. That's again, icons are a tricky subject in AutoHotkey. So
Yeah.
There are some things that I haven't gotten around to, but I will do that soon.
So yeah, I'll be holding lots of courses in the near future and having these different menus.
Really?
Like just having a hotkey and just getting that menu will be really useful for me. So
Yeah, it was one of my gripes with QAP was you can sort of export and share, but the icons don't come with it or anything.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, that's a big part of the value.
yeah,
Right.
I agree.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's see if anybody else has any other questions for now.
Yeah.
Who else is working on something? Hi, Ray. How are you doing?
Hi, Isaias. I wonder, is in site for AutoHotkey, is there a way to make the active tab stand out more? I can barely tell which one is open, if you know what I
That's
mean.
interesting. I'm not really sure.
Hmm.
Maybe have you seen that, Joe? Maybe changing the color of the tab or this?
No, I'm not.
font of
Yeah,
the
I'm not
tab?
aware of anything that.
Uh-huh.
But perhaps if I don't know if you change the size of fonts, like if those in the tab window would change. I don't know.
Not sure.
I don't ever remember. I know, there was a couple of the adjustments of, hey, if there's only one tab, do you show the tab bars at all? And if not, whatever. But I think the size of the font for the names of the tabs might change.
That's
And-
what
and-
I'm thinking. Yes, if you can change the font only for the tabs, that might make it a
Well,
little bit easier.
Well, I don't know if you can change it only for the tabs, but if you
Yeah.
just increased it everywhere, it might also change up there. But I don't know.
We will take a look at that later on, but I'm not really sure about that one.
Okay.
But like on mine, it's pretty obvious because and maybe it's different. Let me just share my screen, I guess is the easiest way. Because mine, the highlighted one is white and the other ones are gray. Like, did yours not do that, Ray?
Yeah, I guess it's my eyesight, maybe.
Okay.
My eyesight, but yeah, it does turn white, but
Yeah. So I mean
But it's not. Yeah, I get what
I-
he
I
means.
find myself, I have to look at it, which one is it? It's like, if it turned red, that would be,
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, and again, I don't think you'd be able to do. I think you'd probably be able to change them for all of them, possibly, but not just for the active one.
No,
It's
that's
a
for
good
sure.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, we will take a look at that later on.
okay.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
So I'll post just for fun. Let me share my screen again. In my site properties, user properties file,
Mhm.
at the top of it, I have these resources. Stupid. Which these are my go-to when I'm having, trying to do something with site. These are very, very handy. So let me copy these and paste them into, but all of actually, all right, let me get rid of that first so it stays pretty. But yeah, these are good. These are very good links where you can learn more about site and how to tweak it and change it. And YouTube.
Right. Now,
So this is my life, by the way. You can see I'm watching this here and Telegram while we do the calls. This is why I'm sometimes a little distracted.
yeah, I saw a question on the meeting chat. Hello from New York City. That's Anthony. Does anyone have a way to make a script open a website using Edge rather than Chrome or Firefox, right? So yeah, there is a simple way. You just call the script with that executable. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
In this, even though you're demonstrating it with the browser, this is anything.
Yeah, this is
if you
for
want to
anything.
open a program with a certain file or a URL or a program, I'm sorry, a file or a URL with a certain program, this approach works great for you.
Yeah, so basically the only thing that you have to do, if Zoom didn't maximize there.
Now, and I saw Tab Nation wrote in the chat there, which is right. The one thing you do have to pay attention to is that path, is the executable you're calling in the Windows path. Otherwise, you want to use the full path.
Right. So there's a lot of programs that when you install them, you can call them like this without having to put the full path That's because they're added automatically into a section of the Windows
System path.
variables. Yeah, the environment.
Let's
And
also, Isaias, after we, sorry for interrupting you, but after we're done, let's show how you can edit that. So if you have
Yeah,
a certain
sure.
program you're using a lot, it's so simple. And I don't think a lot of people realize how easy it is to
easy it
update that.
is, right. Now, you just call the executable. In this case, it would be MS Edge, and then the website that you want to call. And when you run that, it would just go ahead and open up a website in Edge instead of Chrome. In my case, Chrome is the default. So if I don't put anything, it
Right.
would just go ahead and open it with
And-
Chrome instead. So
And
that's a way
again,
to bypass that.
if Isaias, if you put a file path, it would open
Right.
with the default program, right?
Yes. So if I have anything like a
An
text
Excel file
document,
or something, right?
right?
Yeah.
So if I have that and I copy the path and I put it here, or well, I just have to paste. So at this point, if I run this path, which is a file, not a, not a website or anything, it would open it with the default editor that you have set up for that type of file. In my case, it would just go ahead and open with VS Code, which is the one that I have for editing text files. But I could just as easily just use notepad.exe, and now that should open with Notepad if the path is correct. There it is. So again, you can always kind of like bypass the default one. Now, to see or verify what environment variables you have, you can go always to the settings here. And if you go to the home settings, there's the system.
There's about 20 ways to get here, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But the default way is go into the settings, go into system, and there is a section that is the about. This tells you about your computer. And here is where it gets to the advanced system settings. It will ask you for permissions. And in here is where you can see, if I remember correctly here, the environment variables. Those are the ones that we are referring to. And this path variable here is the one that contains a lot of locations, folders that are automatically read, and any executable inside those folders are going to be read without having to give the whole path. Now, there's two types. There's the system variables and the user variables. System variables are available. You will see the path here as well. So you see path in the system variables and path in the user variables. This is available for everybody in the computer. So if you log in with a different person, with a different user, any of these folders are read automatically. That's why you can see, Notepad is in the system root, and other things are like, for example, code. The S code here is also read automatically. If I just use run to say code.exe, it is read automatically because it is in my system path. That's the reason why. And if I run this, it would just open VS Code, I think. Let me see. It did not like that. Let me see here, code. Yeah, this one actually ran it. So maybe if I don't put the exe there, maybe. Yeah, there it goes. So you could use code here like that, because it is in the environment variables. Now, if you want your path to be read only on your user, not everybody, then you would put it here in the user variables. So that would only work for my user. That's what they are. So any folder that you allow here, like let's say I browse for FFmpeg, I think we have something for FFmpeg. Or if I put the downloads folder, if I hit OK, any executable in the downloads folder will be run without me having to put the full path. That's what it means. So it is a very good thing to know. It's a little bit tricky to get here. What I usually do myself is that I just hit Windows and I think it's the pause button, and it takes me directly to the about screen. So I just go to advanced system settings from here. I don't have to be clicking everything.
Yeah, get back into it just for a second to the user variable. So by the way, and I shouldn't say a lot, some programs like Cite has variables that they will look for in your like user environment. I think mine's in the user environment, not the system variables. I can't remember. I can go look. But Cite has a Cite home, I think is the name of it. I did a video on it like 12 years ago or something. But Cite, it normally uses the user properties file, but you can create a Cite variable in your environment, and then it will look there and see where you can put that folder anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be right next to Cite. And so, because I was using Cite on at the time when I was working at TI, I had like 5 or 6 computers because I had 2 or 3 at home and then 2 at work. And I used that. I put it all under Dropbox, and then I pointed to one folder. And so every environment, I didn't have to go change it here. Now I got to go change it everywhere. Right. I used that Cite variable to point to a certain location, and then I updated that one file and it updated it everywhere for me. It was really cool. But there are other programs that do similar things. So the point is, and also I say, I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but if we wanted to create, like if we were creating a tool that we might use multiple times, we could create our own environmental variable and reference it, right? And store it, use it.
That's where get and set comes into place. Let me
right,
share
the
my
environment.
screen. Right, yeah. So this one
still in V2. Like,
yes, definitely.
I know you can't disable, or what is it? No environment
that's by default, no end. So
right.
The reason for that, let me now that we're talking about this, what happens is these are functions that get you environment variables. What's going on? If you have a variable called path in V1, like this, and you set any values to it, it would override your environment variable for the path, the one that we were referring to just a second ago. So you see,
right.
So this variable here, that one here, that is setting locations of programs that can be run automatically. If in AutoHotkey V1, you set a variable called path to anything, it would automatically overwrite this, which you don't want. So what you wanted to do is say no environment, so that the variable names do not clash with the environment variable names. That's what's going on. That's why you had to do this. Now, that was bad enough, but now that you have no env, hey, how do I get the environment variable? Well, that's where you would have to do the env get, and you would have to say path and then get the path, right? So that would get your environment variable called path into an AutoHotkey variable called path. That's what it was doing. In V2, it is no environment by default. So you cannot have the issues that you were having before. So you would have to use the mget variable again, but this time it would be a function. It would have the quotation marks on the word path, and then you would have your setting it into a variable. That's the difference there, that it is by default no environment. But this idea of the environment variables is really cool. If you have time to read a little bit about them, just go ahead and read on the AutoHotkey help file, and you will get to do very cool stuff with it. It's a very good thing to learn. So thank you for the question, and it took us in a very different direction that we started with, but it is good to know that you could do those kind of things in AutoHotkey. Any other questions out there?
Not a question, but a statement.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I know there's a few people in here, at least on the Zoom call, that helped with the AutoHotkey companion Chrome extension thingy. I'm actually planning to release that Sunday. I don't promise it'll be live Sunday because I don't know if they have to like review it or what. I don't know if it goes live as soon as I push go live, or if they have to, review to make sure I'm not doing anything shady or anything, stealing your credit cards and whatnot. But I'm gonna upload it Sunday. Hopefully it goes live Sunday. If not, hopefully it's pretty quick. I can't imagine it being more than 24 hours for them to review it.
That's true.
So I made a few little changes since the last time. I know a few people have emailed me asking to do the beta testing. I'm not ignoring, well, I guess I am ignoring you because I closed beta like 2 weeks ago.
Awesome. I'm not, well, yeah, technically I am.
Yeah, so technically, yeah, but hopefully it'll go live on Sunday as soon as I upload it. And it just made a few minor changes. There's still more to come that I'm working on, but they're a little bit more fancy stuff. So I'm not too worried about the fancy stuff just yet. More of the functionality of it right now.
Just, and some people watching don't know what you're referring to. Why don't you at least tell them at a high level what you're doing? Because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick like 5-minute demo. Let me open a tab I don't care about you guys seeing. This one, this looks good. Yeah, so Chrome extension. Even though it's a Chrome extension, it does work in Bravo, Firefox, Edge,
Any Chromium.
and like 2 other ones, Firefox. Yeah, it works all in all of them. I've tested them. I haven't tested on a Chromebook, but someone was having an issue with that for some reason. User error, maybe, or maybe Chromebook just doesn't like Chrome extensions very well. But yeah, right here you got you know, the little icon, I pinned it up here. Bunch of stuff. I don't know if Joe's seen this, but it does now save what version you chose last.
Oh, cool.
Using local storage. You can search documents by typing in like send, push go. It's going to take you to V1 or V2 documentation for that command. Basically, same thing with YouTube. You can choose all of YouTube, Tab Nation, or the Automator. Type in your command here. And if we have any videos, I don't promise we're always going to have a video on every single command that you might be searching. But if we do, it'll find it. Or you can just go straight to my YouTube, like homepage, I guess, front page for that and the Automator. Sites, just some of the more common places, like if you have questions and you want to start a conversation, this is good places to go. Drop down menu with a bunch of other stuff. You got, you know, more sites, tools, and YouTube channels from some of the other people who at least have produced something in the last 5 years. If they haven't, they're in another place, which I'll show you. But real quick, the 2 new things I got is master link list here. You can open that. And this is going to be, I'm adding more. So if you guys have more you don't see here, definitely let me know. But this is going to be like every website I can possibly find that has to do with AutoHotkeys. They're alphabetized and in categories. Obviously, there's a lot more libraries than only 4. So I got a lot of work to do on that.
Yeah.
YouTube channels, info sites, and then tools. You know, tools, you probably know the 2 big ones that I know a lot of people talk about right now is V1 to V2. Pullovers, recorder, you know, a bunch of automate my tasks. There's a bunch of good ones there. Quick access pops up, which we bring up a lot here. So just really quick ways to get to them or discover a new tool.
Okay, I'm gonna make a suggestion here on that same page. Can you go back to it?
Yep. What was that, master link? Yep.
Yeah. So for the libraries, instead of having links like this, it's better to have kind of like a search functionality. So you would have your own database that you would add the links, because at some point this is gonna get too big. So then it's gonna get way too many links. It's better to have kind of like a search that looks in your database and you add to the database as you find them or that you want to show them.
Yeah, no, that's something that's definitely going to get out of control fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that would be something that is really neat. But the only thing is that it's going to get very big very soon. So yeah,
especially with libraries. Even the sites is already starting to get a little big.
It being a Chrome extension, that also means, like, to me, creating that is not as simple as maybe it is for you guys. Like for me, I don't know how I would do that in a Chrome extension. Yeah,
no, it definitely take a mixture of the HTML part would definitely, that's easy. JavaScript, I have a few ideas on that. That shouldn't be too hard, but yeah, the hard part would be though adding probably fuzzy search and stuff, because, you know,
those kind of things. Yeah.
You're not going to know what the library is called. You're going to want to know what it does, but you're not going to know the name of the library. That's where it's going to get definitely tricky. But yeah, that's something I definitely would like to do. The last thing is it saves your version. Standalone mode, that's the big thing I've changed. In case you don't know, I cannot auto size this. Chrome does not allow that for security reasons. But I've kind of cleaned this up to make it the ability to make it smaller. So compared to this, as you see, I realized there's no point in having the standalone button here. when it's already in standalone mode. So that's gone. Some other stuff's gone. I've kind of condensed it. But the cool thing is somebody was saying like, yeah, it's nice to have it so I can put it over here if I'm using like Notepad++. But some people were saying, what if I want to put it at like the top of my screen? So I have made it adaptable with the help of, I forget his name, Matthew. Submitted it when he was giving up ideas, and I liked it. This was great. It's going to be a little better. I do need to work with the divs here because like there's no point in this huge empty space here. So search documents will move under and, you know, it'll condense. There's no point in having this drop down here with this huge black area. So
Yeah.
that will be done today, but it'll give you the option to be more flexible on, you know, having it horizon or vertical more.
All right.
I think the only other thing is you click the home button here, it takes you to another page where you have an IDE here. Up above, you have some default, or I guess common use stuff, you know, like toggle if display. There's the code. As you see, I have a lot more to add there slowly over the next day or two. And then I have settings down here. So I have dark mode, light mode. I have 3 other modes that are already designed that I just need to copy and paste the code in. So you can choose like your theme, nothing crazy. AHK tips, you know, just random tips that I've been adding. Not all of them have to do with AHK. Some of them have to do with, you know, just coding in general. That's more of a fun thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my crash course. Joe and I did a video 2 weeks ago, maybe. And that's going to have a lot more details and depth of pretty much everything. So yeah.
Cool.
Which, by the way, that leads into the Irfan. I think he finished downloading all of the subtitles to our 1300 YouTube videos.
Wow.
Yeah. And Tom, I was going to talk to you. What I need is a list of the unique IDs. So if you want to get that, but we're going to build a database tool. So we have all the subtitles. So your tool, which is what we're all doing, is like we search YouTube, but it has really searches the titles, I think, like it, you know, or maybe descriptions or tags, but not the content. So we're getting the subtitles to all the videos, and then that'll be indexed in a way that you can search and see, hey, this was mentioned at this point in this video. Like, so you can click it and jump to that part of the video, which would be freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Ray was asking, and that's what I said, Ray, there's a lot of examples on the forum of get a list of all running programs or all running AutoHotkey scripts, but our script hub tool also makes it easy to edit or reload or open the folder or pause them. Let me put a, whoa, what? Oh, I see. Let me grab the URL for the tool. Hub, what is this? What the hell is it called? Oh, script hub. Okay, I see.
Yeah, script hub. Yeah. Right. So I'm answering to Brian on the chat. He was asking if we went over UIA and pain issues. And yeah, it has to go to a doctor for that, but no. We have talked about it before. The only thing is that when you have a pane or panel, which is type of control that shows up very often, they don't have names. So that's when we will have to use the path of the UI element instead of the name. So it is a very long topic. We have covered it in several hero calls and in several videos as well. The only thing is that if we don't know exactly what you're working with, it's very difficult to actually answer that question. Let's see if anybody else has any other questions. And if you are going to be on the hero call, maybe you can take a little time to show us what you're looking for. Maybe I can help you a little bit better there.
I wasn't here long, but I do have to bounce, but I will be on the hero call, I think tomorrow, 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Your time, yeah.
See you guys. Thanks for the quick introduction.
There you go.
See ya.
Talk to you later.
Don't ignore me, man.
Exactly.
Awesome. You're like, yeah, actually, no, I've been there plenty of times.
Yeah.
Anyone else got any questions? Something they're working on? Is this? Do you have the? I know Geek Dude maintains a wiki page for AutoHotkey. Do you have that URL handy?
The wiki page. Oh, hold on. Let me see.
I know, actually, I can go to my resource page, which has it.
We had AutoHotkey.wiki. I don't know if that's the one that you're referring to. I'm sharing it. I'm sharing my screen now. Is that the one that you're looking for?
I'm trying to find the. Yeah, probably right.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting website that you can use for different, getting, for example, libraries and finding other types of code. I think most of those are done by GigDude himself, right? Yeah, those are his libraries, the JSON library, the.
I don't think they're
HTTPS
only his, but
buckets.
yeah, I mean, he's.
Okay.
But he definitely is obvious because it's what he knows and uses, right? So,
Yeah.
but maybe the library. I'm sorry, the libraries definitely could be. But
Yeah.
I know, I think at the top he mentions us or somewhere.
I think he does, yeah, he does. So he was talking about the video resources, joke lines, the
Help him.
Helpens channel. Axel Fobler.
Yep.
Yeah,
His
so
YouTube content. Yep.
right. So he's
Um,
very good.
Someone asked about how we're getting the YouTube subtitles, and G Swig actually first gave us some code for using YouTube download -DLP, if I remember. Was that right?
Right, yeah.
I think there was a
Yeah, that's the one.
there's a YouTube download tool, and there's one that does a little more advanced features, and so we were using that. However, he also gave us some code that, because we were using for one-offs, we were using the YouTube API for getting subtitles. However, the OAuth was just a pain in the butt. And so Isaias was faking it by using the console and getting the cookie or the token.
The token where I was getting the temporal token. Yeah.
And we were ripping through it, but that would last, what, an hour or something?
Yeah,
And
it was a very short time.
yeah. But also we maxed it out. Like it was, I remember you saying, like, we were
It
like,
was weird. Like, what the hell?
like, sorry, you're screwed. Yeah, we're like, okay, great. But in the example which we haven't had time to dig into, but we took a quick look, and it looks like, I think we can get the OAuth now, right? Isaias, and you say it looks promising.
Yeah, it looks promising. I have to activate the. I have to.
Yeah, that's right. You need to
I
create
have to activate the app
whatever.
first,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Exactly, and then to make some
Good.
videos for that is really annoying, but it is kind of like the step that I'm missing. Let me see. I think Ray still asks. Oh, okay. So he's saying, give me a link of the hub tool. You gave him that already. Any other questions? Anybody else has any questions?
I think I made a discovery the other day. I asked on the hero group about if it's possible to not open Paint to copy an image and add it into a hot script, or like, yeah.
I remember.
And I think it's possible to, instead of saving an image, you can open image, copy it, and make AutoHotkey paste the content of the clipboard into a BMP file or something. You don't even have to name the file with an extension. And then you can open it with AutoHotkey and paste there. So you don't even have to.
Can you show me that? I'm actually.
Yeah, but the script I gave you, you can shove it right into the clipboard.
Yeah.
And use it however you want. Like
but I'm not sure why. Like, that's the part that I'm kind of like curious about, is saving it into a file from the clipboard without having to name the file as BMP. What can you?
Yeah,
Well,
I just found this video from Yuho Lee, and he shows I don't know if the sound comes over, but he shows how he first.
I'm not sure if you're sharing your screen.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
Well,
just
and
throw
when
the
you're
link in the
sharing,
chat.
yeah,
Share
just give the link if you want. Yeah.
One more time and share.
Yeah.
Like this.
I'm really interested in the calls. Okay, so you're saving the clipboard into a file, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. He's reading the clipboard again.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to. So what he's doing basically is explain that you can do this, but you don't have to do them one after the other. You can save the file in one place and open it in a different place. The point that he's making is, yeah, you can save your clipboard into a file for later use whenever you want.
Yeah.
So basically, you can save it in one script and later on just hit a hotkey that reads that file and put it onto your clipboard.
Yeah.
Right. So this is something that is known. The only question is, in your case, when we were talking about this, we were specifically specifying that, yeah, if you grab the clipboard data, the image is in the clipboard already.
Yeah.
So that's basically what this is showing, that, yeah, it is on the clipboard and you can save it into a file, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's just a little different way, because the way I had set up my script was it forced Paint to open up and then copy from there and then
No,
use
no,
it.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, but that's not needed. Yeah, this is the correct way to go.
But
Yeah,
also,
and this also, you don't even need any libraries. You can just use the inbuilt features of
Yeah, definitely.
AHK. Yeah.
but I would still say what I would be doing is highly look at is just copying the path to a file, and then you can push that path almost on any program.
Yeah.
And then it just saves you the steps entirely. It's just simple and it works everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, and then so what do you do then? You just make a script to expand the
Well,
path to an image, or
no. What Joe is saying is that if you paste a path to a file into Google, for example, for Gmail,
No.
Gmail automatically reads that file without you having to actually deal with the file at all. The only
Okay.
problem with that is that it doesn't work in every single program, but most of them do. So most of them know what to do when you paste the path to a
Oh,
file.
Or
And-
you say you want to give it a file and then you just paste the path to the file. And
Yeah,
if you
as
have
well.
that path handy, it's almost like it's one more click, yes, but it's dirt simple is the point, right?
Now,
Like,
question in this case, when you see the line 1 that it says clipboard all, that what you got, did you get it from a file? Like when you save that to the clipboard, when you hit Control-C, what are you copying? Are you copying it from a file or are you copying it from a screen clipping or something?
no,
like that?
it's from a screenshot or something. Yeah.
That's what happens. Okay.
So yeah. So it's just a way to store the screenshots, and then I don't know if it saves it as a BMP, but I'm thinking that in a way you should be able to just read, maybe use file read and some file.bmp.
like I said, our Windows snipping tool automatically you can have it save it as either a BMP or a JPEG or both.
Yeah.
And it shoves the path to that thing onto the clipboard automatically, or you could have it you can just highlight the screen clip and hit Control-C and it copies it.
Copies it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but you
For
can
me,
also
for me, the problem is I have like a whole support database, and I need to add. I'm not opening each image. I just put them in one folder, and then I can reference them with a function. And, yeah.
which is really what the initial video I sent you, that was the whole point was, hey, often, you have certain pictures you need to be able to have access to very quickly and easily. And doing that approach is really simple.
Yep. That's cool.
Yes.
Let me see. I think somebody else said something on the chat. Is this of any use? He's talking about the ChatGPT summarize YouTube videos. Well, that's one thing. So this is a summary tool, right? What we are talking about is actually getting the subtitles to all the videos in a channel. So that summarize tool is for one video, right? So if you're watching a video, you can click on that video and get the summary of that one video. But in our case, we wanted the subtitles of all the videos in one channel, which is a totally different thing that we're trying to get at.
And not just of one channel, but of us and of our courses and we could even load file, like libraries and stuff as well if we cared to, right? Like any text.
Definitely.
It's the beautiful thing. We think of videos as really an audio kind of a thing, but computers, they see that subtitles and you're like, oh, hey, this I can index it off the text.
Yep.
And now suddenly it's all like a program in that sense of scannable and indexable. So
Right.
You'll be the Smithsonian of AutoHotkey.
right.
Definitely.
Well, and I don't know if you guys all saw the video Ace and I did on the AI tool, I think it was called Searchy, but they're under a different name now, but where we uploaded 1 hour of our course, and within a little bit of time, I was able to do a search and it would link to the videos on where we said the answers and use AI to actually grab what we said, restate it sometimes, but put the links with the references and the time clips to the spot in the video. And this was just, to me, mind-blowing. The only part I didn't like was if it was something we didn't cover, it was pulling it from like ChatGPT or elsewhere, and the answers were wrong because, you know, like with AutoHotkey, it's not too smart yet.
Yeah.
But still just phenomenal. Like the problem is you have to store all your data in theirs, and that's, you know, we have 1,300 videos. Like there's no way I can, you know, it's going to cost a fortune.
Yeah.
I see Geek Dude joined. Hey, Geek Dude.
Hey, what's up?
Is Ace, did you want to, now that Geek Dude is here, I know we had a question. Did you want to run that by him real quickly, or?
Yeah, that's a let me see. Hold on.
It was interesting. By the way, we were doing a project for a hero member, and we had did it in V2, and he's like, actually, I'd prefer V1. So as Ace is like, well, he didn't, before the client talked back, you know, responded, is Ace like, let me look at it. And he was like, Joe, I really tried to go redo this in V1. And he's like, it would have been a nightmare in V1 to have created this thing. Yet it was, you know, it would have taken you twice as long, if I remember.
That is correct. So because there were a few things, and probably we might talk about that in the hero call later. If there are no many questions, I can dive a little bit into that for people who are interested in why GUIs are so bad in V1 and why I like V2 on that sense. But there's another interesting thing that happened, and I don't know if Geek Dude is here. Maybe he might have an idea of why this is going on. Let me share my screen real quick. There we go. Let me just copy the text from here, put it on my tool. So, and this is a very weird thing on V2. Basically, this is something that I was unexpected in V2. So let's go ahead and show this in V1 first, so that you get the idea of what I'm expecting or what I'm not expecting, and then we go from there. So I hate radio buttons in V2. Then let me start with that. Radio buttons in V2 are really tricky and they make no sense. That's the first thing. But in V1, you added 2 radio buttons, both of them triggering a specific label, right? And that means that when you click on one of the buttons like this, you would trigger the label that we had. In this case, it just has a message box that is saying that, hey, you clicked on it. So every time I click on these buttons, you get that. Now in V1, and this is a known thing, if you have the GUI control here, let's make sure, no, so I know that it's doing the correct thing. So if you hit F1, it actually sets the check box that I'm selecting, but it doesn't trigger the label. So if I run this, I can click and I get the trigger for the label. That's okay. If I hit F1, it does set the checkbox, but it doesn't trigger the label. Does that make sense? I think that's, and this has been like that, and it is known. Now, V2 comes along. This is exactly the same code for V2. I create a GUI. I add 2 radio buttons, name one of the 2. I have a function that just reacts. So whenever I click on these guys, they react and show me this message box. But my F1 button, I'm setting the check to the first one. And then I'm showing a message box. All good. What's the thing? So when I click between them, I get my message box as expected. Now, here's the thing. If I have the second one selected and I press F1, the react function gets called. I get the test. And also I get the control checked message box. So if I'm on the second one and I hit F1, I react and show the message box. But if the first one is selected and I do this again, I only get the control checked. I don't get the reaction, which is for me mind-boggling. Like, why, if it is actually checked?
He did write a comment in the chat. Isaias.
Right. So this was something that I was not expecting. This was something that I did not see coming. So I saw that part. I think you're not doing the same thing in both triggers. In V1, you're using internal methods, but in V2, you're setting external methods general for any application window. I'm not sure I follow here. So I do understand that here using G labels, I'm kind of like calling something internal, which is a label basically. But you're saying that here I am using something that works with any program. That's what you're saying. So control set checked would work with any program. Even though that's different, why sometimes it triggers the reaction and sometimes it doesn't? That's something that I'm not really sure about. So I think there is no specific way of doing that in V2, like just using the, let me try this, hold on. I know what you mean, because in V1, you have the same, which is GUI control. So in V1, you have GUI control, but in V2, you don't have that. What you do is the control object itself. So control object. This is the only thing I have. And each control object has the thing that I want to do. So for example, for a check, let me see, type visible, whether it's checked. And this is the interesting part. That's why I don't like radio buttons. Radio buttons are weird. These guys, I can set the value. So basically what you're saying is instead of doing that, I could do this value equals 1. That should be basically what you're saying. Now, when you do it this way, I don't think it triggers the reaction anyways. Let me see. So if I hit down, it works. It works. If I'm here and I hit F1, it does that. Okay. And if I do that, oh, there you go. I get it now. So when I do it with the value, it is being triggered in every single instance. When I use the control set check, it doesn't do that. That is interesting. That is really interesting. I'm not really sure why that is, though. Do you have any idea on control check? Oh, no, hold on. No, it's only giving me the control checked. It's not reacting to it. So notice that when I click on them, I get the one that says test. You see that? Now, F1 only gives me the control check, but it never reacts. Does that make sense? So let me call this reaction message and F1 message, right? So we got these two. Let's replace it. So in here, I get the reaction. If I hit F1, I'm only getting the F1 message. I'm not getting the reaction, right? Now, if I use the control set checked true for this guy, if I hit F1, it gives me the reaction and it also gives me the F1 message. But if it is selected, it only gives me the F1 message. You see what I'm saying? Like, it is a weird thing that I'm not expecting that at that point. So I'm not sure if that is basically a it never runs the click event. That's what I got. Now, what you want to say is the on event. I did that. So my code has the on event for each of them. So my code has the on event on them. But if I use the value here, it never gets triggered. So setting the value does not trigger the on event. It doesn't create an event, that's for sure. But control set checked sends the event in, but it has an exception, which is weird. So yeah, I thought it was going to be easier to explain what the problem is, but that is something that I do not understand. And I think it's a type of a bug, an AutoHotkey bug. The control set checked is not sending the event if the radio button is already selected. That's what's going on. So it's weird, but it's something that I'm not sure about. I will see if I find something regarding that later.
He said he wouldn't use control set check for his own GUI.
There are reasons why I would like to do that. One of the reasons was that I needed, in my code, I needed to throw the event. So the setting the value by itself was not doing what I needed. That's why I switched to control set check. Exactly. As it should have been queued in the message buffer while F1 started critical. I didn't set it critical. Let me try that. Let me try the critical. I think I didn't set the critical setting here. Let's see if that helps. So, oh no, if it is checked, it doesn't give the event. So the event is only triggered when I switch between them, or if the first one is not selected and I hit F1. That one in there, I do get the event, but not if it is already selected. That's when it gets dropped for whatever reason. So yeah, I will take a look at that. I will probably
comments there, Isaiah.
Let me see.
Above my pay grade, but we gotta jump to the hero's call here in a minute.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here, and come here next week with your questions, and we'll be here live streaming. We got to run to the hero call, and thank you all for being here. Consider we got 2 more hours today and another hour tomorrow of helping people, so it's something you should consider. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.